And we are live for episode 23 of the Alt Natives After Hours podcast. I'm Popko. I am the host of a show on the radio on Saturday nights called Alt Natives on Alt 921, where I feature an hour's worth of local bands in NEPA. And this podcast is a bit of a supplement to that, which gives me an opportunity to sit down with people in the community and have a long-form conversation. And today I'm joined by Scott Nichols. And Scott Scott is the designer and craftsman of custom one-of-a-kind lighting fixtures at 7, 8, 10 fixtures. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's how to say it? And
7, 8, 10. Yeah.
Scott is a big supporter of just local, things in NEPA, specifically the radio show, and he's always sharing our stuff, and I really appreciate the support. And I got looking into Scott, and he does some really cool custom designs, as I stated earlier.
Thank you.
If you haven't seen Scott's work, I really encourage you to check him out. Trying to think of. I can't even describe what you do. It's basically light fixtures and fixtures in general. But I mean, Scott, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, because I won't do it justice.
Well, it goes all over the place, and it started, the whole lighting thing. Really, my world, my life started about 4 years ago. I quit drinking. After that, after I was, all the saturation of the booze and everything started to clear up and clear out, and the liver started feeling better again, I was just seeing differently. I was hearing things totally different. The emotions, which I tried blocking out for 40 years, well, they were back. And I was like, I don't even know how to deal with all this stuff. It was crazy. Insomnia, which 4 years later, it takes me sometimes 4 hours just to get to sleep, and it's pure misery. This all goes into the mix. So I would need something to do. Like I came out in the evenings after my son would go to bed, and that's the only time that I feel relaxed or any sort of calmness or anxiety free is when my son is sleeping. And I'm sure you know what I mean.
Yeah. All
the other time, I just feel scattered and everything. So I would come outside and sit here, roll cigarettes, listen to music. At the time, I wasn't even playing instruments. I'm a musician as well. And so nothing was really happening. I made this lamp, which I still have. It's a joke, out of a block of wood, a pipe, and a bulb and a socket. And I brought it home. So anyway, I built it just to have in my little shop, just to sit here and listen to music and whatnot. So my wife said, geez, you should try to sell those things. I'm like, well, I don't think so. I made one and put a cage on it. So it kind of looked like steampunky, rustic, industrial. And she said, maybe open up Facebook or something, which I wanted nothing to do with. And now it's like my life.
Right. Yeah. I know.
So I opened up a Facebook and I posted it, and it sold immediately. So I was like, well, that's cool. All right, now what? So I made another and another and another, and people just started putting orders in, or like, can you do this or that? I'm like, I don't know what I can do, really. Very simple stuff in the beginning. So then I put an antique camera on a base, because they were all wood base. Now I'm using steel gears and, human bones for bases. But at the time, it was just wood bases. And I had a little antique, nice brownie camera, and we set it on the thing and took a picture of it and advertised it. And again, now that was a whole different thing. That's where everything really got interesting. people were starting to say, hey, I have my mother's antique clock or whatever, or these heirlooms, or I have my grandmother's jewelry. Can you somehow add it into the light? I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, we'll try anything. So then I was building around these people's, precious treasures.
Mm-hmm.
So it kept me busy. All the custom orders were slowly coming in. And in the meantime, again, I just sobered up. So the insomnia, everything was going crazy. A lot of stuff was happening. And from 40 years of blocking it, everything out. So in my spare time, I was obsessed now. And anything I do, whether it's music or lighting or landscaping or planting flowers, anything I do, I go in hardcore, all or nothing. And sometimes it's a problem, sometimes not. But I was spending all of my time building these lamps and just posting them and selling them. And I was like, this is crazy. At this point, I was working. We live in South Auburn, which is out near Mashopin. And I was working in Carbondale 5 days a week, full time. So I was traveling. I was on the road like 3 hours a day, more. And then you stop and this and that. So I was on the road all the time. So I wasn't seeing my son. That was just driving me crazy. With all the orders, all of my other, models that I was starting to call them, I was working probably between the Carbondale full-time job. I mean, I was working almost 20 hours a day between both things. Again, the insomnia, which was fine. It was keeping me awake and active.
Yeah.
Allowed me to do all this. And again, at nighttime with my son Jonah sleeping, I'm like, I'm as free as a bird out here. I can do anything. I can listen to anything. I don't have anybody telling me how to do this or that, or I got a welder. And that's another thing that took just making the lamps alone to a whole different level, where now I could start bending wire and making, like you've seen them, the vinyl record displays. And, I could form things and make things and create things that are working for the people's other, for their treasures. So at some point I was like, I can't physically or mentally stay awake. I can't do all of this at once, obviously in a day. So that was the decision to quit a job after 15 years and not even knowing I was only doing this lighting gig for about 8 months. And I was like, there's no way that I can work full time and do this. So that was the point. I'm like, at 40, some years old, I'm like, this is very risky, but I have to do it.
Yeah.
There's, the booze and the just regular life kept me so, I wasn't challenged to do anything. Even at work, it was like, well, okay, this is what I have to do, and then go home, and then that. There was no challenge. There was nothing sparking me,
What was your
so
full-time job?
long.
What was your full-time job?
I worked at the Carbondale nursing home, and I was one of the maintenance guys.
Okay.
So I was, fixing lights and painting and spackling. Right. It's just the routine maintenance.
But nothing for yourself. It was kind of the day-to-day stuff.
Yeah, the day-to-day stuff. And I was there again for 15 years.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is it. I mean, that's what I'm going to do the rest of my life. And I'll accept it, I suppose, again, until I quit drinking. And then I kind of was like, are you serious? Like, I'm not happy doing that. So why I've got to do something. I have to do something. I'm already made the most drastic change in my life ever. Might as well keep it going.
Yeah.
You know, I might as well change everything around me. So I guess I kind of did.
Yeah.
And you know, it just kept building and building. And, you know, being younger and being a musician, like I always looked up and I admire artists like crazy, probably more than anybody in the world. And I would, you know, I don't think I ever said it out loud, but I would always be like, oh, it would be so wild to be an artist, wouldn't it? Like, and that still never crossed my mind that that was going to happen, or that the creativity was all of a sudden going to explode in my head. Obviously had no clue about that. So then, you know, when I was doing lighting in like the Pittston Gallery artifacts and stuff, and did all their in-house lighting, and then, you know, just having pieces in galleries and a couple interviews and articles and stuff, and they're saying artist. I'm like, it's still, that doesn't make sense, but I'll just go with it. And then I was like, I guess that's what happened. that's where I am, as what I'm doing for a living now, which is,
That's amazing.
I could have never expected it in my life.
That's amazing. It really is. I mean,
that I'd be making lamps. You know? A lot, you know, has happened. I met such amazing people, just great friends, so many people doing this, where again, and working in the nursing home and stuff, that was it, you know, that was it. So now it's like, there's more to life besides work, driving, and spending time with my son. You know, there is, holy cow.
yeah.
You know, we're far out there, so we don't get out. Our son has autism. So we really, and again, just being an hour from anywhere, like we're an hour from Scranton, from Wilkes-Barre, from Vestal, to anywhere you go, plan on it being a long day. So we don't go anywhere. The evenings, you know, from the time my son was born, was pretty much dedicated totally to him, when I was working full time. Mm-hmm. So now working from home, it's just the freedom. Like, I don't know how, I don't think that I could go back. And you know, the main reason, not because of it'd be harder work or easier work or whatever, but I'll certainly do whatever it takes to maintain this much time with my son, I guess. Sure. You know, he's number one, and then everything else comes after that.
Absolutely.
You know the deal.
Yeah.
I live vicariously through your stories, through everybody, like Facebook, as ridiculous as it sounds. But we do not get anywhere. So, like, I see you with your son and stuff. I'm like, he's a good guy. I see the love in your eyes, you know, and I'm like, that is just awesome. Yeah. You know, that's one reason I always wanted to meet you. Like, certain people come into your life for whatever reason, you know.
Yeah, man.
You can go on and on.
I've seen your name. I've been to benefits where you had some, you know, stuff on display for auction and things like that. I tried to actually, you know, win that item. So I've seen your name. I've seen you, obviously the same thing online. And I've seen you with your son, and you said earlier he's autistic, so that's obviously a different challenge for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the same thing. Obviously, he's your number one, and you know, like you said, I could see that. You know, it's through a screen, but you know, it's genuine, and you know it's real. Yeah. And I you know, my son's 2 years old, and this scenario with the COVID-19 has been, I guess, in a sense, a blessing. I don't want to say that and offend anyone, because it's definitely not a blessing. I wish it didn't exist, but for me, it's given me the opportunity to be at home with my son for the past, it's been, I think, 8 weeks now. And there's times where it gets difficult because I still am working, thankfully. So you're trying to maintain your 9 to 5 job and make sure he doesn't jump off the couch and into a table and break his neck. But it's been
Right.
it's been interesting to say the least.
Yeah. It's a full-time job.
It is. I feel like I'm working 2 jobs
Being
right
a
now.
parent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. These stay-at-home parents. I give you guys all the credit in the world because it's a lot of work. It really is.
Yeah. It used to be like, holy cow, how awesome would that be? And you're like, oh boy, I'd rather go to work.
Mm-hmm.
But,
I've never wanted to be a stay-at-home parent, and this confirmed that. But I'm definitely taking advantage of the situation for sure.
I just watched. It's good, and you should, and it's the most important thing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I just watched my son just 3 minutes before I got down here rip his tooth out with a zip tie.
Oh no! How old is he?
And I'm not talking a little one. Like this was like one that you'd strap your bumper of your car on, and he found it upstairs, and we knew it was loose.
Yeah.
But it's not like he just ripped it out just now. But I went upstairs to kiss him, and he's sitting there with the loop around it, and just I'm like, wow, hold on. Then I'm like, this is interesting to watch. I feel pain, but I'm kind of curious what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And sure enough, so I came out to check if you hear him. I ran back inside, and sure enough, there he is.
How old is he?
9.
9. Okay.
Yeah. He's nonverbal. So he just gets his needs across. Like if he's hungry, wants some bacon, he'll run to the fridge or just say bacon. So there's no, back and forth communication, which is an extremely hard thing, to deal with. But
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh no, I mean it's fine.
It's funny how your life kind of worked out though. I mean, you went from having this job that it paid the bills, I assume, but it probably wasn't fulfilling. So now you're able to have, do something that you obviously love, and now you get to spend time with your kid too, which is
I know
probably amazing.
I'm very blessed, and I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful, so happy that everything turned out how it did, and I never stop working. There always seems to be something. Like my wife always, well, how can you keep coming up with things? I'm like, I have no clue. Don't even ask. Like, dude, I don't even know.
Anybody watching this, if you're friends with Scott, go to his Facebook page. He's got a whole album of fixtures, and I'm assuming it's probably on the same the 7, 8, 10 fixtures page as well. I'm sure it's all on there too.
Same stuff. Yeah, except my personal page has everything going on. The business page, they're a joke.
Dude, the work is incredible. I can't I hope people take a look because I was serious. I know my friend Christina from high school, Christina Simon, she had commissioned you to do a thing for her boyfriend. And we got back and forth. I think that was back in December about a Joe Rogan fixture of some sort. I'm serious about that. You build it, I'll buy it.
All right. I already have a couple things in mind, actually.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I love all your work, and it's such a cool, cool story, I guess you could say. Obviously, it sounds like booze may have been a problem.
Oh yeah, well yeah, it was everything.
Yeah, so it's cool to kind of see you overcome that.
It overtook everything, just consumed everything. I lost every single thing, lost it all. And that was, I was the kind of person who would always, the kind of alcoholic that would always go to the doctor and be like, everything's all right, right? And he's like, you probably should not do that anymore. I'm like, well, so you didn't say anything like really bad.
Yeah.
Just, I'm like, well, all right, that's a free pass. That's good enough. So keep on going. Until, again, everybody's bottom is different. Mine took quite a, I needed quite a bottom for me to say, all right, that's it. I'm done with this. And, I never looked back. I just said, I'll never touch another drop. I haven't, thankfully haven't relapsed. I have to just, definitely could have been just that person who quit drinking and carried on and and just kept doing the regular routine of life and sort of, again, accepted it. But I just couldn't. There was way too much, again, after stuff cleared out, there was too much fire inside for me to be like, I'm not just going to sit around and do nothing. I can't do it. And thankfully that's what was underneath the booze, was that, that spark or whatever. Fire.
That light bulb.
That light bulb. The light bulb went off.
Yeah.
But, I've been blessed. And again, there's been some really interesting pieces, from how they did start out with it being kind of rustic. We're from such a rural area. Like somebody will be like, oh, here's a old cattle pulley or something. I'm like, all right, well, let's make a light out of it. So then, everything was sort of rustic-y and barn-ish, simple again. And I don't know when or exactly what changed. I'm looking at a crazy light here right now with making these steel flowers and using just stuff that I didn't think that I could ever do. Honestly, I still don't know how I do it. Everything's planned out. I don't toy around. Like I won't, never, ever. Like I never sit down and be like, well, let me just try to do something funky here. Every single centimeter of the thing is planned out. Somehow it's up there. Mm-hmm. And when 9 o'clock, when it's time to work at night, I'm out here and it just happens as fast as it comes into my brain, I guess.
That's awesome.
Strange.
We need people like you out there.
No, thank you.
I wish I had that in my brain. I don't have that creativity behind me. And if I do, I don't know how to unleash it.
Unleash it.
I don't know how.
You will.
But how has your family been through all this, this quarantine and this COVID-19 crisis that's going on? Your wife and kid good?
Yeah. My wife is a photographer. She works from home as well.
Okay.
So holy God, can you imagine that? So we both work at home, and our one girl was going to cyber school, and apparently they shut cyber school down for whatever reason. So everybody's here. It's like, except for our one girl, she's 20 and she moved out. But so it's like everybody's here all the time. So thank God I have this place I run out to every so often, and I'm like, but no, everybody's good. Again, like I said, we don't go anywhere. It's our life is normally like, except for that bad word quarantine, that's what our life is like.
Right.
We don't go anywhere. We go out, get groceries, come back. Normally our son is in school. He goes to the Graham Academy right down in Kingston. So he has an hour ride each way. Elk Lake, which is our school district, provides transportation.
That's nice.
So an older man in a car picks them up, used to, before all this. And, he would get home and, my wife and I would work. We would just work all day. So now it's the same thing as it used to be on the weekends, which if my son was home, no school on the weekends, I would be inside there all the time. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I am not getting work done. I'm like, oh my God, thank God I do work at night.
Yeah.
Or I wouldn't get really much of anything done now that he's home.
Yeah.
So, and then the weather's hopefully going to be getting nice. So it's,
fingers crossed.
this whole quarantine thing will at least feel a little bit better. If you're
last weekend was great. For 2 days I forgot about, the world, being the way it is. We were outside and playing. My kid loves bubbles, so we're outside playing bubbles, and we're playing baseball and stuff. It was
baseball thing.
Yeah. So hopefully, at least that way, if people have to be home, they can at least get outside in their yards, because this has just been miserable.
And you might be cutting grass, you might be shoveling your sidewalk later in the afternoon.
The way things are going, this is crazy.
Yeah, we had a little leak in our pool, and we had a pool guy. I called the housing was cracked. I said, just send a guy up. So he's up here trying to get the pool going, and literally 45 minutes later, it's a blizzard out. It's like, are you all right? Put the cover on, shut it all down. Let's get the snow shovel out. Holy cow. So, I mean, how about you guys? Your wife?
We're
you
good,
guys
man.
Are home all the time, or is she working?
So my wife works every other day from home, and then she works for Geisinger. So she's been, going to work, not at a hospital. She works in a clinic. So like this week, for instance, she'll be home, working from home Tuesday, Thursday. And then the following week, she'll be working from home Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So that helps a lot, because, there's two of us at that point. But the days that it's just me and him, it's a challenge to get, work done. And like I said, make sure he's taken care of.
I know.
But we're good. I mean, we're all healthy. No one in my family is sick.
That's great.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Today's Mother's Day, obviously. So we had a nice little dinner here at home, but I haven't seen my mom probably since March 13th. We haven't seen her mom and dad since probably even before that. So it's been a while. Yeah, so it's hard for them as far as they miss our son and hopefully us too. But but yeah, so it's been a challenge. We're doing our best to really adhere to the social distancing and only leaving the house if you have to. And so, but we're healthy, so that's all that matters, I think, at this point. So
it'll be out of here hopefully soon.
Yeah, I mean, has that had an effect on obviously your business is these fixtures and people making these orders? Has this affected your business?
No.
Good.
Thankfully, no. The custom orders are still coming in, but I haven't been making those models where just the ones like that I just want to make and sell and post. That have I don't even know what I was going to say there, but I haven't been making as many lately. I mean, before the custom orders, they always kind of flip-flop. I would get slammed with custom orders, so I would just lay off on doing the models and putting in, I'm in a couple of different stores and stuff. Like, selling lamps in stores doesn't happen. You couldn't make a living off that. Mm-hmm. So I found out now. I mean, like I never relied on just stores because you couldn't. So it is the custom. Thank God it's a huge area, and and the United States is huge, because if it was just stores or like a certain area, man, you would just oversaturate yourself, I think, and get burned out, or people would be burned out of you. Maybe I don't know. So, So again, the custom orders haven't slowed down really. A couple of people put on hold till the whole thing's over. But again, like with the models and stuff, I've been spending a lot of time with Jonah, so I've not been doing that and just posting them. That's why I've been posting a lot of inspirational quotes or something, because I don't have any lamps to post.
Right.
Better pictures of my son. I'm like, oh, all right, might as well put this on. He's a doll.
He is.
So, but you know what? Like you said, when you said it was a nice couple of days last week, and you were outside and you forgot about everything. You know, that is, I know it's so hard to do, but I try to do that as in my reality. Negative stuff, just negativity or bad stuff, like which COVID-19 is it's all bad. So I just try, and I try so hard. I don't watch the news. We'll have zero part of it. You know, if people, you know, my wife, I hear the conversations, that's probably pretty much the only place I get my information about either the outside world or through Facebook or through you. You know, or like I'm just so shut out, and I would kind of rather be, at least to the negative stuff. You know, I try to just be so positive as much as I can be.
Yeah.
And it's just, life's too short. I just don't want to deal with bad or negative stuff. And like I've already done it most of my life. You know, this is kind of like my second chance, or,
right.
You know, 4 years ago was my start of my second chance. If I want to rid out negativity, then I'm gonna, you know, the best I can. Like, I just don't want to be laying on my deathbed and say, you know, and it goes along with even taking the risk of leaving my job to do this or anything. I just don't want to say, that was all right. That life, that was all right. I mean, you know, one of the biggest regrets ever is not quitting drinking earlier.
Yeah.
Because, you know, who knows what this life could have, not that I'm 85 years old now, but
I know what you mean.
I'm getting older. And, you know, I could have, I'm just curious on what could have happened if I did this, you know, 20 years ago.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously don't dwell on that. I mean, I think you're doing,
no, you don't. Yeah.
Yeah, great things. And yeah, you talked about, you know, keeping away negativity, you know, staying off social media is a great way to do that, because that, I mean, Facebook is, my God, it's just littered with people who just want to fight. I feel like
I know.
I spend way too much time on there. I know I do. It's God.
It's tough. I guess I pick and choose. I mean, I don't read other people's, like, if I know that they're arguing or whatever, I'm like, I don't need to hear about it, really. I don't need to hear the argument or the political stuff. I know nothing about politics. I know, you know, it's just not my thing. It never was. Or, you know, really even religion. You know, I'm not going to say the interest in it, but I never had the, I guess, interest enough to find it, to find any reason that I needed to. I don't need it, I guess.
No, I'm the same way.
It sounds selfish, maybe, or crazy, or like, oh, you can't live in the clouds, you know, like people would say, but you kind of can.
Yeah, if you want to, you can. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very easily. You know, one thing I wanted to talk to you about, and this is something I didn't know about you until it was probably December of last year, that your family owned Nichols Village.
Yeah.
For a long time.
Yeah. My great grandparents started it, and as you know, they were selling like canoes and trailers and stuff right where like Sheets is in Clark Summit, right in like the Sheets parking lot, pretty much. And then that just built. I was born in Massachusetts in 75, and in 77 my parents moved down to Pennsylvania, and my father went to the family business, to Nichols Village. And you know, they moved back about 20 years. So they spent many years down here. And I mean, that was basically where I was brought up. I mean, that was my playground, was the whole Nichols Village, you know, everything there. It was insane. It was a wild, it was a unique, I'm not going to say wild, it was a unique childhood. My father was always there. My grandfather was always there. We were always there. My sister and I were, that's where we were. Like, so there was like workers babysitting us, like, you know, like waitresses, like, all right, well, hold on, you know, I'll watch you in a couple minutes, like when I'm done working. So, you know, I would just tote around with my dad and grandfather, Norman. So my grandfather, his parents started it, and then my grandfather and his brother took it over. And my grandfather, more the maintenance side, and just did all of the physical taking care of the buildings, the whole complex. My uncle, my grandfather's brother, George, he's still alive. He moved to New York, but he was more the business end of it. And, you know, that took a turn. It took a turn. They hired a management company to come in, and because things were just getting maybe financially or whatever, it was just building, it was just too great anymore. So they brought in this management company, and things started to dwindle down and just start slowly crumbling there. My father moved back. Actually, my father was already back in Massachusetts. So it was me and my grandfather, and a couple other, you know, guys doing the maintenance, maintaining the whole place, which was, I mean, at one point it was the place to go. I mean, people came from around the world to stay there. You know, the place was meticulous. The restaurants, you know, the Raya House had its whole, you know, its own elegance, its own. That place was just, you know, amazing. Back when that was still open, the Raya House. But anyway, you know, then it kind of just fell apart. So my family sold it. Like, they were gone. The management company that took over, they just let it go. So my family said, we're done. We're going to sell it. And they sold it to, I don't know, some shady individuals or whatever. And that was 7 years ago, I believe. And wow, I went in there. My wife and I went in there a few months back, right when they started. I think it was right before they started. No, I'm sorry. They demoed like the first building right next to Sheets, which was my great grandmother's apartment, and where she lived her whole life, pretty much. There was another building, which was a restaurant. They ripped that down. So the rest of the buildings were all there, and we walked through, and there was other people there too. Like, I've got to see what's going on. Somebody sent me a message saying you should probably take a final walk through your family's place before you can't get in. I think I wanted to walk through the whole thing, but we were, again, my wife and I were in a rush. We had to get back for my son. But anyway, so half of me didn't want to even walk through. It was the most disgusting thing ever. I mean, just a disgrace. Terrible. The whole place was just, I mean, it looked like a pool area. The glass is all smashed. The big ceiling domes, they're all smashed in. There's no water in the pool. Just a horrible war zone. So anyway, we got out of there, and I'm like, wow. You know, and I don't even know if I should send pictures to my dad. in Massachusetts, like, well, look what we used to have.
Yeah.
Look at the show it's become now. So he's like, you gotta let it go, man. It is what it is. It was what it was, and it was a great thing for a lot of people for a long time.
Yeah, I'm sure that was hard. Regardless of you sound like your dad kind of was at peace with it, but that's got to be tough. That's got to be tough, and I'm sure he had his feelings about it, and probably just didn't want to.
Yeah. I
give
mean, he had his feelings about how it was going before he even left. I mean, so he was like, I think I'm done here, and then moved up and kind of shut the, closed the book to some extent on it. And then when after my grandfather passed a few years back, I used to go down to the summit all the time just to visit him or stop at the, his property. So I would always pass through Nichols Village. I'd stop in, I'd walk, just walk the halls or go down to the lobby, grab a coffee. I'm like, this is weird. This is fun. So I was always still kind of around. But after he passed away, there was really no reason anymore for me to even go to Clark Summit. So, I don't know. It's still sad. I had to drive down there last week, and I passed by. It's just like, should I even look or should I not? How many more buildings did they rip down? Then there's that one 4-story building that they must have said, well, we could empty this quicker if we just smash all the windows out of the building and throw the 100 mattresses out of the windows, along with the dressers and the armoires. So now, and then the whole COVID thing started. So now now it looks even worse. Now there's really? Oh my God. Yeah. Because none of the workers were able to go there and finish cleaning up. Right. So throw it out the window and we'll clean it up next year. It's a shame.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard of that place before. I'm out from the country, like Sweet Valley, Hunlock Creek area. So that's like an hour from Scranton, like south of Scranton. So it wasn't until I started working in Scranton at the radio station that I was even kind of familiar with, seeing Nichols Village, but I've always heard of it. And then I didn't put together that, that was your family until, like I said, December, when I saw someone post about it. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah. It was something. It caused, there was a lot of great times, a lot of crazy times. It employed so many people. Like I put one post out, I think it was that one, saying how disgusted I was of walking through it. And the people, I mean, again, some people are so nice, and they're just sharing their memories and it was just so nice to hear people and again, something, whether it's just posting something that could make other people feel, whether it's a lamp or a story or pictures about Nichols Village or something. If I can make somebody feel any sort of way, happy would be a good way, but if they can feel any way, then I feel that, that's great. I would, it's so important, I think, to just try to blow out and just be as positive as you can. And again, cut the negativity, I guess.
Yeah.
I know I just keep going back to that, but anyway.
Well, no, I think it goes back to, your sobriety. It sounds like you spend a lot of years trying to suppress a lot of things, and, you got your second chance at life, so to speak, man. And,
it is.
And,
and I feel like,
don't waste it.
I mean, sometimes I truly feel like a kid. I know sometimes I certainly talk like one, so or think like one, but you know, I feel like a freaking kid.
Yeah.
Not inside, not my bones and muscles.
I hear you.
Everything else.
Well, I mean, I'm sure that's a great thing for your son too, to have, you know, you to be that positive thing in his life, and, you know, be that kid, you know, someone to hang out with and have fun with.
Yeah. I mean, that's all we do. And, you know, we'll jump on the trampoline or just swing or, you know, just lay together and just spend time with them. I don't know. It's my favorite thing to do.
Absolutely.
And it's what I do most.
That's good.
For sure.
It's good to hear. Well, dude, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I could probably do this all night.
Thanks so much.
But I know people's attention spans aren't that long, so I don't want to.
I just looked at the time and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah. These things, I mean, I try to keep them like half hour. It never happens because, like I said, people's attention spans aren't that long. I'm not doing it really for anyone else other than me. If people get something out of it, great. But this is something that I wanted to do. And
I mean, I could keep talking to you.
we will. We'll do a part 2 one of these days.
Yeah. Because
So
that sounds awesome.
Well, dude, best of luck with all your creations. I can't wait to see what else you do. I think your work is magnificent. It's just super cool. It's one of a kind. It really is. And
thank you.
Anybody watching this, please, by all means, check out Scott's work, because it's stuff you can't get anywhere else, and it's great. So
and there's a lot of big new fun jobs coming up too. So
cool.
There'll be some fun things that I'll share out there and whatnot.
Awesome.
But I appreciate you having me on, and thank you so much. It's so nice to meet you finally.
Yeah, we'll hang out one of these days in person as soon as this
when I bring you your lamp.
All right. I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, thank you so much for your support. Yeah, thanks for your support though too, man. Like I appreciate you know you sharing you know the alt natives stuff out there. It's I guess you could say that to me is, you know, what you do, you know, for you and your fixture business, because I mean, unfortunately I don't get paid to do what I do. It's just something I love doing, and maybe one day it'll turn into.
That's the most important part, is doing what you love.
Yeah,
you know, everything else will fall into exactly where it needs to be.
Yeah.
It does. You know, every time it seems to prove itself. Yeah. As long as you're on the right path and doing the right thing, everything just seems everything else just falls into right where it should be, going down the river of hope, the river of dreams, the river of positivity.
I like
everything just flows in together. Yep. As long as I guess you're doing the right thing.
Absolutely.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
Hey, at the end of the day, you just got to be a good person, right? And I think things will.
Is it.
Good things happen to good people. So.
Exactly. Karma.
Yeah.
It's good. Yep. It's not. Everybody always thinks about the bad karma. Oh, I hope that happens, or that person's gonna lose their eye, or what about all the good stuff?
Yeah.
All the good stuff. You do, you know, good stuff for people. It's just going to happen.
Yeah.
Right back to you.
Absolutely.
Well, Johnny, nice to meet you.
You too. Thanks so much, man.
Thank you. I'll talk to you soon, hopefully.
All right. Take care. Be safe.
All right. You too.
All right. We'll see you.
Bye.